with everyone. Welcome to my channel. If you haven't been here before, my name is Jennifer Diamond and I'm a certified plant-based nutrition coach. And through the power of whole food plant-based eating, I was able to get my health back, and I know it can help you too. So thank you so much for tuning in. It's so good to have everyone here. I just want to let you know that if anyone is interested in chatting with me, I am so excited to say hello to you. And I see Core Scorpy is in the house. It's Jennifer. Thank you so much. Hi. And Apple369. Hello, beautiful Jennifer and Todd. Oh, Apple, so nice to have you. And everyone else, please feel free if you want to make a suggestion, a comment, you have a question, you just want to say anything. We welcome all of the comments and interaction within the chat. We also have WFPB Nut. Lisa, good afternoon. Good to see you. She says, good afternoon. I'm finally home on a Tuesday afternoon to catch the live. Thank you so much. It's wonderful to have you here. And Nancy says, hello, beautiful from Scottsdale. Hello, Nancy. And that's Nancy-0208E. And thank you for tuning in. And Scottsdale, you're our neighbor, so that is not a far jaunt. I hope you're enjoying this winter weather. And then we have Whole Food Plant-based Nut. Lisa saying hi, Apple, and hi to Todd and everybody here. Okay, so it's an amazing opportunity that we have to talk today about well, we're talking about one of the most common questions that I get asked, and that is, where do you get your protein? I hear lots of whole food plant-based people. They get frustrated or they find it kind of humorous when others ask them, where do you get your protein eating whole food plant-based? And I hear them say how frustrated it can make them, different comments that, just are like, why don't people know that we can get our protein in so many ways from plants? And so, it's such a common question that I thought it would be fun to talk about it today. So here's a question for all of you guys. Have you ever had this question asked to you? Let me know in the chat. I'd love to hear about it. And Apple says, it's weird how YouTube has changed its display of our usernames. Oh, really? I noticed that recently too. So maybe it has added some numbers or letters at the end. Is that what you're talking about? And if so, I can still see, part of it that looks familiar, and hopefully, that's okay. Yes. WFPB Nut Lisa says, yes, strange that my name changed. Well, you never know what's going on, but I see you the way that I'm reading you, and I'm so glad that you're here. Core Scorpy said, nope, LOL, but I suspect the answer would consist of tofu plus beans, especially edamame with a laughy face. Aha. So that he has not ever had the question. And so, while we're having people add that answer, I just want to say, why do people ask that? That's another thing that you can answer. Or why do whole food plant-based eaters feel frustrated by that question, right? I talked about what I thought. Let me know if you have a different thought. Is it important to pay attention to your intake of protein? How much protein is enough protein? Can you be protein deficient or low in protein levels on your blood tests if you're eating plants or not? Why do so many people think we need to eat an overabundance of protein in order to function correctly? These are all great questions. And yes, even where do you get your protein from is a great question. And we're going to try to answer them all here today. So today we're going to talk about what protein actually is, why people are so worried about it, and how you can get everything your body needs from plants easily, deliciously, and completely, really. So as always, if you're watching live, pop into the chat, which I already mentioned before. If you're just tuning in now, we want to see you. Say hello. Tell me where you're tuning in from, especially if you're new and we don't know, or just tell us anyways. Maybe we forgot. Ask a question, post a comment. You know all the things. And while you're at it, let me know your favorite plant-based protein-rich food. So while you're doing that, Todd, would you let me know if anyone has put any more answers about, have you ever had this question asked to you?
We do have a few.
Okay, so go ahead and read those, would you please?
I would be happy to. So let me see. So Lisa says, I'm asked that all the time. Nancy says all the time about protein. Apple, I've not been asked that question, but she's waiting. Because she has a counter of where do you get your fiber?
Okay. So, you know, it isn't uncommon for people, maybe not all of us have experienced that, but it isn't uncommon for people to be asked this question, especially when we don't eat the standard American diet, or you're transitioning and people are concerned. Maybe they're concerned, maybe they're curious, maybe they want to understand why their thoughts are the way they are, right? I've been told by, you know, my doctor or my coach. Maybe they have a coach that does like their fitness trainer kind of coach. And, you know, bodybuilders and people that want to build muscle and stuff, they're always asked that. So I appreciate everybody sharing. Let's see. Whole food plant-based nut Lisa says you can be low on protein, especially if you're not getting calories. That is enough calories, and that is super true. Apple says, I think it's important to pay attention to protein if it's medically motivated rather than social influence. Ooh, I love that. Some people absolutely do need more protein than typical. And hopefully by the end of this chat together, we might be able to see why that may be. And I agree, you're spot on. And usually you are. I always learn from all of you guys. Thank you so much. Core Scorpy says, hey, I'm tuning in from Arizona. Woohoo! We've got a few in the house, and I am appreciative of that. Whole food plant-based nut Lisa said beans. So that's good. And then we have Marilyn Dubin in the house. Hi, everyone. Hi, Marilyn. Welcome. Join into the chat. And so good to see you. Okay, let's start with the question that makes some people frustrated or sometimes chuckle, right? Or even do the eye roll. I don't know if you could see. Oh, the eye roll. That is, where do you get your protein? This question comes up all the time for me, and I believe that there is good reason for it. Todd, does that question come up for you?
Nobody's ever asked me that, no. But people don't normally ask me questions, they ask you.
Okay, well, sometimes you are with clients or different social situations and circles that I'm not involved in, and I wanted to ask you. So very good. Well, I'm just going to say, for generations, right? Advertising from the meat, the dairy, the egg industry has told us, they send those messages that animal products are the best or maybe the only source of protein. And even if they don't say it, it's the message. It's the message that we get, right? Your body needs protein, and protein comes from meat, dairy, and eggs. That kind of messaging sticks, especially when it's tied to strength, you know, strong, large muscles, great health, bone strength, and vitality. You know, so when people hear that people who are living whole food plant-based don't eat meat, right? Or fish or any of those things, the first thing they tend to wonder is, well, then where do you get your protein, right? Because it's such an ingrained thing for us. I believe that it's really about fear. The fear of deficiency, actually. People, sometimes worry or are concerned that if they take out the animal products, especially if they aren't knowledgeable about plants or they're new to this, maybe you're tuning in and this is a new thing for you. There's usually a concern that if they take out the animal products, then they're going to lose something vital. But the reality is that the animals that people eat for protein, like the cows, for example, well, where do you think they're getting their protein from? And I know some of you watching and talking in the chat already know this answer or feel pretty confident, but in case you don't, or you need a reminder, right? I'd like to ask, are there any guesses? Any guesses? So let's see what's going on in the chat. We have, yes. Oh, you wrote that, Todd. We get our protein from the farmer's market. Oh, okay. So people are asking. Okay. So yes. So, they all get their protein almost exclusively from plants. Those animal product, those animals. That's right. The plants. Okay, now, why would you say that, right? I'm going to tell you because the cows, they're not eating hamburgers or steaks. Their natural diet is grasses and seeds in some cases, right? So the grasses, that's their natural diet. So really, plants are the original source of protein, and animals, they're like the middlemen. I just want to say hello to Jackie. Jackie's in the house here. Let's see. Core Scorpio said, do they get their protein from mooing loudly? That's my guess. You guys, what do you think? I don't think so. But I know Core Scorpio, Apple says, Core Scorpio knows the answer. Yes. So, okay, what I want to do is give you an example of how the middleman might work, right? And you let me know what you think about this. So in business, for example, you can buy products directly from the manufacturer, right? Or you can purchase them through a distributor. Another word for a distributor would be like a middleman. And that middleman sometimes contributes to longer lead times, right? Because they have to process your order and place your order and receive your order and then ship that product to you. So that middleman also means you're going to pay more for your product than if you had gone directly to the manufacturer or the source, because they're going to add their profit margin to your order. So that's how they stay in business, right? And in business, you pay more in time and in money. But when we're talking about food, you pay more with your health. So if you get your protein from the middleman, and I'm in this case, in this scenario, it's the animals or the cattle, their markup, the additional price you pay, comes as saturated fat, comes as cholesterol, comes as lack of fiber. Because remember, animal-based foods can absolutely no fiber, which is essential for digestive health. It's really true. And an untold number of contaminants, the hormones, the chemicals, the pollutants, all these things. So cut out the middleman, right? The animal products, and then just go straight to the source. And in this case, the plants. So now let's talk about what protein really is, how our body uses it, and why plants give us everything that we need. Here is a question for you guys. Does anybody know how many essential amino acids there are? Essential amino acids. Essential meaning that's what we need, is required for us to take in. Anybody know how many there are? Okay, so while we're waiting to hear that, I just want to talk about what protein is, okay? Protein is made up of amino acids. So think of them as tiny little building blocks your body uses to build and repair tissue, muscles, skin, hair, enzymes, and even hormones, just like Legos. Ooh, I meant to pull out some Legos and I didn't. So pretend you're looking at me holding some Legos. They're all in a big clump. And when you put them together, those are the building blocks of, like, say, whatever toy a child is trying to build, or maybe an adult is trying to build, whatever you're trying to put together, right? Now, there are two kinds of amino acids. There's the non-essential, which are the ones your body can make on its own. And then there are the essential, which I talked about. Now, did anyone answer how many there are before I give this away? Let's see. Core Scorpio says 23. That's a good guess. It's a question mark. That's why I say it's a guess. And hello, Jill Caperton. 1568 is in the house. And hi, Jennifer and Todd. Forgot about the time change. Yes, there is a time change, but not for us. I'm so glad that you remembered and are tuning in. And so Apple says 369 Legos with a heart. Yes, they are so fun. Well, I'm going to go ahead and let you know 23 was a good guess, but there are 9 essential amino acids. Our bodies cannot produce them. And so we need to have them through our consumption, and that's in our diet. So anybody else? Yes, Apple said 9, and you were definitely right. So if we don't get those essential amino acids, the body, then what happens? It would break down existing muscle to get what it needs, because if we're not giving it what it needs, it's going to go around and find places where it is and kind of steal it from there, take it from there, and break it down. And honestly, that's just the start. So with them, our bodies can't create new proteins, which are crucial for almost every bodily function. So the brain can't regulate mood or energy without them, which leads to things like brain fog. You guys have heard that. I mean, irritability, right? And mood swings. The body's ability to repair damaged cells and tissues, it's all compromised. So you might experience skin issues, hair loss, poor digestion, low blood pressure. It's a long list of bad things you definitely want to avoid. And those are just some of them, of course, right? So here's where a lot of people get confused, though. Every single plant food contains all 9 essential amino acids. The difference is in the amounts that they contain. So I'm going to say that again. Every single plant food contains all 9 essential amino acids, just in different amounts. That's pretty cool. Now, the cooler part is your body is super smart. It naturally combines the amino acids from everything that you eat throughout the day to make exactly what it needs. And that's not what's happening each meal. It takes it from the whole day. So you don't have to combine foods in the same meal. Your body knows what it's doing. It's got you covered. It's amazing. What you just have to do is eat enough of the right plant foods. And so protein is going to help you, it's going to help your body build and repair tissues, right? Here's some things that it will do. It's going to support your immune system, which, we all need our immune systems to be strong. It's going to help make hormones and enzymes and keep your skin and your hair and your nails strong and vibrant. You know, what happens inside, it will show outside too. I mean, we're all like one giant body. So anyhow, I just want to see anything going on in the chat. Anything, Todd?
Apple wanted to know what she won for getting the correct number of essential.
Oh, what did you win? You got a little personal dance going on here from me.
Okay, Apple. There you go. That outdoes my virtual histidine.
Thank you so much for letting me know. Okay, so hopefully, if you're watching the replay, you can back this up now. Go ahead, let's dance together, and then we can move forward. Okay, why protein gets so much attention? Oh my goodness. Well, protein gets a lot of attention because we've been marketed into what I like to call the protein panic. Because everywhere you look, something is high protein, protein bars, protein shakes, protein powders. There is even a new thing, well, new to me, I don't really know how new it is, but there's even protein water that's being sold. Have you guys ever heard or seen of that one? Protein water? Protein has become this like badge of honor. It's become this thing that when we all need to be most concerned about, we've been conditioned to believe that more protein means things like I mentioned, right? More strength, more muscle, more vitality, and better health. The truth is that more protein isn't always better. It isn't always better. It's something that we absolutely do need. Those 9 winner April 369 essential acids, but we don't need them in like overabundance, right? It's something we don't we need. But again, don't get me wrong. We really have been conditioned to think that we need more, but it's about balance, don't you think? It is definitely about balance. So when you consume, let's say, too much protein, especially when it's from animal sources, let's talk about things that can happen, right? It can actually strain your kidneys, and increase your risk for chronic diseases like heart disease and diabetes. It can even raise your IGF-1 levels. Now, maybe not everyone's familiar with that. So for those who aren't familiar with the IGF-1 is, IGF-1 stands for insulin-like growth factor 1. Blah. That's a lot. And that's why they call it for short. And it's a natural hormone that your body makes, and it helps with cell growth and repair. So when we're kids, or even when we're teenagers, when we're still growing, and we need that to help us grow. We need that insulin-like growth factor 1 to grow. But as adults, too much IGF-1 can actually cause problems. So knowing what your IGF-1 score is almost, it's actually also really important for assessing your bone and your tissue growth, and if you're younger, puberty and overall metabolism. It's really good. If you haven't ever had that tested, check it out. You might learn something more about your body. Now, why is that? Okay, here's why. So when we eat a lot of animal protein or processed protein powders and so on, our IGF-1 levels can rise too high. And then that itself might not sound bad, right? So it rises too high, right? I mean, if you're not understanding, but the high IGF-1 is like hitting the gas pedal on cell growth all the time. And so your body never gets a break. It's like a constant, right? And what happens when cells are told to grow constantly? They can grow the wrong way. What does that mean? That can lead to higher risks for cancers like breast cancer, prostate cancer, colon cancer, all other kinds of tumors like pituitary tumors. I unfortunately had a pituitary tumor that had to be surgically removed. I am quite aware of that. And so that's no fun. Kinds of weird things can occur. Now, a plant-based diet, a whole food plant-based diet, helps bring levels back into balance. So you can still get plenty of protein for the strength and repair that you need, but without overstimulating that grow signal, right? Because With whole plant foods, you get what I like to call the smart protein. It comes packaged with fiber and antioxidants and vitamins and minerals, and it has zero cholesterol. And so eating more plants doesn't just help you feel lighter and more energized, it also helps your body stay in repair mode instead of in that overdrive mode. So now that's the kind of protein I want fueling my body. What about you, Todd?
Yes.
And hopefully you guys will agree or at least consider that now that you may, if this is new information, may know that. So, science-backed benefits of plant protein, I just want to talk about now. There's plenty of science and research to prove it. I'm all about proving it through science. And the science, it is pretty clear. Plant-based proteins supports your health in some pretty amazing ways. So let's talk about a few of them, right? So there's heart health, which we mentioned. Studies show that eating more plant protein can lower cholesterol and blood pressure. Okay, so for instance, in Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn's work, if you're not familiar with him, he's amazing. Go look him up. Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease is one of his books, and he's a cardiologist. He states heart disease is a food-borne illness, and that the body heals when the injury from a standard American diet is replaced with plant-based diets, providing there's adequate protein without the need for animal products. He also notes that people can easily get enough protein from plants, and that's coming from things like beans, legumes, nuts, whole grains, all of that kind of stuff. And I've got an array of all kinds of beautiful food here that is an example of that. Another one is longevity. So population intake live longer and have lower rates of now. Dr. Michael Greger, he is a prominent plant-based doctor who discusses longevity and plant-based protein extensively. His work provides scientific evidence linking plant-based diets to a longer, healthier life. If you're not familiar with Dr. Greger, nutritionfacts.org, check it out. He has amazing information that he researches and puts on his platform to share in a way that, we can all understand. Another one would be kidney health. Now, plant proteins are easier on the kidneys than animal proteins. We mentioned that. Now, that's also another thing Dr. Greger has spoken extensively on this. And according to him, a plant-based diet can help maintain our kidney function. So animal protein has been associated with an increased risk of end-stage kidney disease. Now, not to get off on a side tangent, but that's what my dad died from this year. And although Remy's doing really well, even our dog, he's got some kidney disease, because as we get older, even if there isn't, a reason why, aging can cause it. And so we want to help our body and our organs function as, best as we can for as long as we can. And then there's inflammation, right? Whole food plant-based diets reduce inflammation. I have proof of that. I am living proof of that. They improve insulin sensitivity and they support gut health. We all need our gut health, right? And so, I want to talk a little bit about Dr. T. Colin Campbell. He's the author of the China study. He's actually a scientist. I don't know if he's actually a doctor, Todd. But I said that, so I want to check. T. Colin Campbell, scientist, author of the China study, which is a fantastic book. Check it out. Also compares plants and animal protein quality for health and explains why plant proteins are beneficial for health and can provide all the necessary protein without meat. And he was raised on a dairy farm, and he has come a long way to realize and prove and share with us that we don't need the meat. So if you want to read the studies yourself, some of the key ones to know are, I'll just name 3. The Adventist Health Study from Loma Linda University, they found that people eating primarily plant-based diets, whole food plant-based diets, have lower all-cause mortality. Then the China Study, which is the book we just talked about by T. Colin Campbell, and his son, Thomas M. Campbell II, examines the link between animal protein and higher cancer risks. Oh my goodness. The American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, which is another one I want to bring up, found strong evidence connecting plant protein with improved cardiovascular outcomes. And these are just a few doctors and a handful of studies. So the science is out there. And it says that plants don't just give you protein. They also give you protection and so much more. So much more fiber, and the list goes on, right? So I have a question for everyone. Have you had concerns about if you're getting enough protein, or if you would get enough protein if you ate plants exclusively? Let me know in the chat. And while we're waiting for that, I'm just going to check the chat for a minute here. And I see Denzi Kenger. Is that how you say that, honey?
Dennis Kenger.
Dennis
Kenger. I'm guessing Dennis Kenger.
Well, hello. 52. The study she mentioned for possible adverse effects of meat protein on kidney function is part of maybe what you guys were talking about. Wasn't that the heated animal protein? Wasn't that the heated animal protein? See, so I'm coming in late. Do you understand what the question is? Were you able to answer it?
Yeah. Dennis Kenger's asking about the study by Dr. Michael Greger about proteins and kidney health.
Yes.
And believes from a prior conversation that was related specifically to heated or cooked animal proteins, not necessarily raw animal proteins.
Oh, yes. Thank you for bringing that up. And that's a kind of a whole nother section, I would say. But also, Dennis Kenger, 50.
With a Z.
Dennis. You know, I do my best with the names, but if I make a mistake saying it, please forgive me, and just know I have best intentions to say it and give you credit for being part of our chat. So thank you so much for understanding. And says, I remember talking of this before with someone and remembered that this was for heat processed meat. Okay, thank you so much. Whole food, plant-based nut. Lisa says, I've never worried about getting enough protein. And Apple 369 says, I'm not concerned about protein because of my vegan diet, but I do pay attention to protein because I am immunocompromised and also have a neuroimmune disorder. My doctor supports my dietary choices. Oh, isn't that wonderful to hear? Your doctor supports your dietary. I love it. And my doctors do as well. And it hasn't always been the case. And so good for you. So yeah, there is definitely, room for paying attention, even if you're not concerned, to be aware of what you're taking in. Jill Caperton 1568 says, I worry because of the propaganda, but I know that I can get enough from plants. And, another important thing to do is, how do you feel? How are your blood test numbers? What's happening? Those are all signs and signals. And then, are you bringing in enough food, enough calories? So how much protein do you actually need, everyone? We've talked about the dangers of too much protein, and we all probably can guess that it's equally dangerous to have too little. So what is the right amount of protein you should be getting? So let's talk about the numbers, because this part is always eye-opening, right? Brenda Davis, one of the most respected registered dietitians in the plant-based nutrition field, somebody that I have trained under through courses that I've taken, and really find her to be fantastic at what she knows, suggests that for most healthy adults, okay, 0.36 to 0.45 grams per pound in body weight, or it would be 0.8 to 1.0 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight, depending on if you're using kilograms or pounds, is adequate. And that consuming a variety of plants, right? You want to always have the rainbow. I like to say the rainbow. So you want to have foods like legumes and lentils and beans and whole grains and soy and nuts and seeds, and those will provide sufficient protein and all essential amino acids. Now, for athletes, and I'm not talking about someone that just goes to the gym or does their own thing, but I mean serious athletes, she recommends 1.2 to 2.0 grams per kilogram of body weight, while also for older adults, that number is a little different, and that's 1.0 to 1.3 grams per kilogram, and that may help reduce age-related muscle loss. So this is also supported and published by the U.S. National Academy of Medicine, stating that the recommended daily amount, or the RD, right, of protein for the average adult is about 0.36 grams per pound of body weight per day, or like we mentioned above, 0.8 grams per kilogram per day. Okay, so just to recap that. And that amount is also endorsed by the World Health Organization, the WHO, also the Food and Agricultural Organization, FAO, and the U.S. Department of Agriculture, USDA, and the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and that is among many others. So the only reason I share that is to help show that this amount of protein is widely accepted globally, and as the amount is sufficient to meet the needs of nearly all healthy adults by promoting normal tissue repair, maintenance, and metabolic function. That's our typical daily, right? Now, I know we have people tuning in from Canada, and we did not look up what they say, but I am feeling confident that we're in the realm there because we did touch on kilograms and things like that. Are you feeling good with that? Yeah. So how does that translate to you and your needs? If you have a pen and paper, or you can send yourself a text message, you can grab one right now. We can write that down. So here, Todd just put it down. We'll put it up here across the bottom of the screen. And Todd, can you also put it in the chat? So multiply your weight, whatever your weight is, multiply it by 0.36. If you're measuring your weight in pounds, that's what you would use. If you're measuring your weight in kilograms, then multiply your weight by 0.8, okay? And you're gonna want to reference that number in a few minutes when we talk about which foods contain what amount of protein per serving. So here's the quick math I already did for normal adults who need the 0.36 grams of protein for every pound of body weight, or the 0.8 for every kilogram of body weight. Okay, so I'm gonna just throw out 4 different scenarios. It's just a general, if this isn't your weight, you can put in exactly what it is, but just to give you an idea. So if a person weighs 100 pounds, that would be 45 kilograms. So that's about 35 grams, right? Because 100 pounds, 100 times the 0.36 per pound would give you that answer, 45. Or you could do the 100 times 0.06, I'm sorry, 0.08 per kilogram. Okay, so that's, if you're 100 pounds, 45 kilograms. If you're 120 pounds, same idea, 55 kilograms, right? So that's about 43 grams. 120 times 0.36 per pound, or you could do 120.08 per kilogram. And the last two I'll say is 150 pounds is 68 kilograms. So that's about 54 grams of protein. 150 times 0.36 per pound, or 120 times 0.08 per kilogram. 180 pounds, you're going to do 82 kilograms, or about 65 grams. So you kind of get the idea here. Now, if you're an athlete or doing endurance sports, then you might benefit from having a little bit more, about 0.45 to 0.55 grams per pound. And if you're doing kilograms, that would be 1.0 to 1.2 grams per kilogram. Another section is the older adults, as well as pregnant or breastfeeding individuals, right? They may need slightly more protein than the general population. And like we talked about earlier, Brenda Davis, she recommends about 10% more. For older adults, this is largely due to age-related changes in our digestion, in our absorption, in our muscle metabolism. So as we age, we often experience a gradual decline in our stomach acid production, and a lot of times we may chew our food less thoroughly, right? So both of those reasons can reduce the efficiency of the protein digestion and the amino acid absorption that come from the whole foods, the whole plant-based foods. Additionally, muscle protein synthesis becomes less responsive to dietary protein. And that is basically meaning the body requires a bit more to achieve the same effect. You're not saying that you need more because you're getting older. It's the same amount is required. It's just the absorption is a little bit different. You might not absorb as much. And so if you add a little extra, you're still getting that same amount. Hopefully that's clear. And pregnant and breastfeeding women, which we also mentioned, also require additional protein to support the fetal or the infant growth and maternal tissue development. And that's generally around 1.1 to 1.3 grams per kilogram of body weight per day. So these amounts are easily achieved through a variety, whole food, plant-based diet that includes adequate calories and a range of beautiful things like legumes, grains, nuts, seeds, and more. But here's the good news. If you're eating a balanced whole food plant-based diet with all the calories, plenty of calories, then you're already getting plenty of protein. So you don't have to count and measure or worry about anything. Nature already did the math for you. You need to eat the whole natural organic plant food that nature already provided. Okay? So, now, let me just also say that you can consume all the protein your body needs, still not get it into your system. That could be because of other factors like inflammatory disease, like Crohn's disease, people that have that can impair nutrient absorption. So consuming oil, yes, can also be a factor. There is some research that indicates consumption of oil can lead to decreased levels of protein in the blood. Wow. Did you know that? And why is that? Well, that's because oil, particularly heated cooking oils, they create toxic compounds that cause oxidative stress and liver damage. So instead of focusing on protein synthesis, your liver has to focus on healing itself from the damage caused by the oils. So let's check the chat, honey. Have you had concerns about if you're getting enough protein or if you would get enough protein if you ate plants exclusively? Did we have any comments there?
We did. Most people aren't that concerned about it.
Okay, nothing more. I know we touched on that for a minute. Just want to make sure. Okay, so where protein really comes from? Well, so like I said earlier, plants are the original protein producers. They take nitrogen from the soil. Hopefully it's soil and not dirt. But the idea is take nitrogen from the soil, combined it with sunlight and water, and create amino acids, the very building blocks of life. Remember those Legos? It's the same thing. Now, animals, they just eat the plants and then recycle that plant protein. So we have to cut out that middleman. I also just talked about how much protein is widely considered the sufficient amount based on your individual body weight, and that you can easily get that amount from plant-based foods. So which foods are we talking about, and how much protein do they have per serving? Let's take a look. I'm going to put something here on the screen. Let's show this chart. Okay, now this chart is from I'm going to see, it's at the bottom there, guidetovegan.com/vegan-protein-sources. If you want to look it up yourself. This chart does not show how much protein is in a serving, and the quantities vary widely. But if you go to their website after the show, they'll give you all that information and more. I just personally think that it's fun to be able to see charts and pictures and things. So I thought it would be fun to pull up. And I'm just going to name some, not in order, not connected with the chart, but just some things that might be of interest to you. So here you can see that tempeh, that's about 34 grams per cup. That's pretty good. Tofu, about 22 grams per half a cup. Edamame, which is a soybean, 18 grams per cup. Lentils, 18 grams per cup, and that's cooked. Black beans would be 16 grams per cup. We've got chickpeas, 14 grams per cup, also cooked. Hemp seeds, I love hemp seeds. So that's 9.5 grams per 3 tablespoons. Then there's quinoa, cooked of course, 8 grams per cup. Green peas, also cooked, 8 grams per cup. Oats, 6 grams per cup, cooked. Nuts, nut butters, 4 to 7 grams per 2 tablespoons. So let's bring us back, honey. Yes. Okay. So remember that you only need 35 to 65 grams of protein, and that is also depending upon your weight. And so hopefully that chart was helpful and fun to look at. So if we go back to when I told you to write down the math part or text yourself, right? You can see how easy it is to get all the protein your body needs by eating only plant-based foods. It's just so fantastic. You don't have to track your grams or obsess over any numbers. Just eat the rainbow, a variety of whole, colorful foods. And then, of course, like I mentioned, your body's going to handle the rest. So, all right, question. Has anyone heard that you're supposed to pair foods to get like complete proteins? Have you ever heard of that? Anybody? So before we get into that, I did mention earlier that older adults, pregnant or breastfeeding mothers, athletes, or other active individuals might need more or less protein. And as you move through different stages of life, your protein needs might shift slightly, but you can still get all the protein that you need without animal products. Okay. And I'm just going to mention a few of these categories, like, so children, let's start with children. They easily meet their needs with lentils, tofu, grains, and veggies. Adults, variety of plant-based sources and adequate calories meet daily needs naturally. And then our older adults, focus on legumes, tofu, and light strength training to keep muscles and bones strong. And then pregnancy or lactation. So extra servings of legumes, nuts, and seeds provide everything needed for moms and their babies. So, honey, anything in the chat about, has anyone heard that you're supposed to pair foods or, get to get their complete proteins?
Dennis has heard of it. Jill remembers when that was popular, food combining.
Okay. Okay, what are your thoughts on that? Had you heard of that?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
I've heard of it only because you mentioned
Okay. Okay. So let's see. Okay. So, yes, there was a time when it was said that you had to eat complete proteins together if you were, vegetarian or vegan, to combine them yourself. It was important to get the protein, right? And those combinations would be like rice and beans to do that at every meal. Well, that was proven incorrect a long time ago. So, the idea that vegetarians and vegans needed to combine food at each meal to form the complete proteins originally came from Francis Moore Lapp's 1971 book, Diet for a Small Planet, right? And Lapp later publicly retracted that claim in the 1981 edition of her book, acknowledging that scientists already knew the body maintains an internal amino acid pool and it does not require specific food combinations in the same meal. So, this was also confirmed by multiple scientific bodies, including the American Diabetes Association, the World Health Organization, and Harvard School of Public Health. So, all of these organizations agree that if you just eat a variety of whole foods, whole plants throughout the day, not at each meal, right? Throughout the day, your body naturally combines the amino acids that it needs, and you don't have to stress about protein pairing because your body's already doing that for you. And I know I've mentioned this a few times now, but I really want to stress. So, as long as you're eating a colorful variety of whole plants, whole food plants, like the grains, legumes, veggies that I brought up, nuts, seeds throughout the day, then you are already covered. You're good, right? But it's all about variety. So the more plants that you eat, the more nutrients your body gets to play with. So I think it's important that we talk about protein powders, right? The good, the bad, and the plant-based truth. What about them? What about protein powders? Does anyone here use protein powders, or have you ever? And if you do, what do you put them in? Let me know in the chat. So, okay, so let's talk about that, because I know a lot of you have asked. There's a lot of them out there, and there's a lot of hype around them, protein powders. But for most people eating a whole food plant-based lifestyle diet, they're simply not necessary, because, as we've already learned, now I sound like a broken record, right? You can get all the protein your body needs from a variety of whole, natural, organic plant foods. Da 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 da. That doesn't mean protein powders don't have a place. They can help. So, if you're an athlete or recovering from an illness and you need quick calories or protein, that's good. Or maybe you're traveling and you can't access fresh whole foods. That's another place. Um, I personally use them on occasion in my smoothies, but I know that I can also just add like northern beans or garbanzo beans right into my smoothie, and I can get the same uptake in protein, but even better because it's a natural plant and it's not processed. So I'm going to show you a few that I have. This one is one of the earlier plant proteins that I ever tried, and I don't even know why I still have it. It's been around for a long time. The best before date is like several years ago, but I don't know, for whatever reason, it hasn't made it into the trash yet. But originally I started with one. Since then I have learned a lot about ingredients, and I don't really recommend this for myself, but maybe for someone else, this would be good. And so this is called Vivo Sport Perform Raw Plant Protein and BCAA. This is a Madagascar vanilla. This came from Canada, I think. This is made, yeah, Oh, it's made and sourced in the UK. But at any rate, so that was where I originally started when I was doing it. But then I also, more recently, probably within the past year or two, got into sprout living. Have you guys ever heard of this one? And I've tried two. And I also have them for a very long time because I hardly ever use them. Just like I said, on those occasions, maybe when I might need a little help or I know I'm not going to have access to things. So this one is pumpkin seed protein. I just want to tell you, I should go back to this. Why did I not really like this? Because the ingredients, besides, the key features, right, of how much protein and turmeric and reishi mushrooms, ginger extract, all those wonderful things, there were a lot of other ingredients that I didn't care for once I realized and learned to look at our labels. And this one has, stevia extract. I'm not a fan. So natural flavoring, there's a few other things in here. And so that's why. But this one, the ingredients is cold pressed pumpkin seed powder. That's it. And I did try this same brand before, and it was pea seed or pea protein. And the ingredients I don't have in front of me, but I'm pretty sure it was just peas. So I'm going to show you that in case you're interested. Todd, do you want to put a link in case anyone is interested? It's the Sprout Living pumpkin seed protein. They can check it out. I'm not advocating for anything. I'm just sharing what I have, and I don't think you can see it, but the ingredients is right here. I don't know if you can you see that? It's very, yeah, but I read it to you. So, it's just cold pressed pumpkin seed. So, the same thing with like when I can't access my greens, well, I might do a green powder. And so, I think there's a time and a place, but it isn't something that I need to worry about or use on any regular basis. And like I said, I'm trying to think, when was the last time I used this? I can't even remember. And so for what that's worth, I just thought I would share that. Okay, so let's check the chat. Does anyone here use protein powders, have tried them? If you do, what do you put them in? What do we have here, honey? Let's see. Do you want to read it? You want me to? Okay, so Core Scorpy says, I used to, but now I'm more of a whole food whenever possible kind of guy. I love that. Yes, I love that. And when you used to, were they plant proteins or were they animal proteins? Because a lot of the protein powders come from whey, like whey protein. I used to hear that all the time. And what is whey? It comes from dairy, comes from milk. So if you are doing this, just make sure you understand what you are choosing. Apple a day says, or apple a day. An apple a day keeps a doctor away. Remember that? Apple 369. Yep. I have a scoop of protein powder every day in my morning chia pudding. Oh, that's awesome. Okay. Can you share what kind of protein powder you use? Is it flavored or is it something with one ingredient? You don't have to share the brand, but it would be interesting. Whole food plant-based nut. Lisa, I don't like protein powders. Most have too many chemicals and additives. Yes, that's true. But like I said, you can find some like Sprout Living that just has one ingredient. But yes, you're right. A lot of them do have a lot of added stuff, and we need to be careful of that. Denzi, yes? I keep messing that up. Deniz. Did I get it? I've never taken protein powder in my life. Wow, that's really good. Never struggled with getting protein, not vegan, so never had need to. Okay, well, that's good. And Apple 369 says, I can't get enough protein at my level of caloric intake. So there you go. Apple 369 says, I make my own protein powder. What? Good for you. Good for you. And Apple 369 says, I like single ingredient protein powders. I like the pumpkin one. Jennifer just mentioned hemp powder, brown rice powder. Yes, all of those are great. And Gina761, hello, I'm a few minutes back. So you may have answered this already. Whoops, where'd you go? Oh, Todd, where'd you go? Oh, do you multiply your current weight by 3 point what, or the weight you want to be at for the protein? You want to measure it where you're at, and you can adjust it as you bring it down. And that's my understanding of it, because would you say that understanding of it? That's what I would say.
Yeah, I mean, it's really a formula. A typical adult, right? So 0.36 if you're measuring per pound, if you're measuring in pounds. So 150 pounds versus whatever that is in kilograms. And if you're measuring in kilograms, it's 0.86 grams per kilogram of weight.
And the other thing I want to say is, if you have a lot of weight to lose, that would actually be a good question for your medical professional. Find out if, where you should be with the protein, just because I am not a medical doctor, and I'm just basing this on research that I've done based on where you are now. But if you have a lot of weight to lose, or maybe you have a weight to gain, just double check with your doctor. That's what I would say, to be safe, because again, you don't want too much and you don't want too little. So for me, I kind of base it on where I am at the time, and go from there. But now I know I don't really even have to focus on that, as long as I eat enough, because the body, again, right, is so smart. And really, that was just to teach us and show how much we're actually getting. So no matter where you are, I also just want to say that you should get what you need. Okay, so
I think the other thing worth mentioning from before, when you were saying, is depending on where you are in your life stage, right? If you're younger or older, if you're an athlete,
right,
those numbers are going to vary. So always check with your trusted medical professional.
Yes, thank you, honey.
You're welcome.
Okay, let's see. So hopefully that helped you. And any other questions? Oh, Jackie says, I use Earth Monkey vanilla in my chia pudding. Oh, Earth Chimp. Earth Chimp. That's one to look into. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. That is great. Okay. Now, I do want to say, before you run out to raid the shelves of protein powder, here's a catch. And we did talk about this a little bit. I know that Lisa, Whole Food Plant-Based Nut Lisa, mentioned that most commercial protein powders, even some of the plant-based ones, they are ultra processed. They often contain all kinds of things like gums, flavorings, sweeteners. I mentioned this one right here, even with the stevia, and oils. So that means the benefit you're getting from the additional protein might be at risk of consuming things that you don't want in your body, or worse, ingredients that might not even be good for you at all. So just, be aware. That's like my greatest takeaway with this. Plus, I recently learned that there are some studies claiming that protein powders, both the vegan and non-vegan, yes, I just learned this, may be toxic and may contain heavy metals. So I haven't read the studies myself thoroughly, and I don't think they've been completed either, peer-reviewed, etc. But my understanding is this is something that's being looked at. And so be aware, do your research. And if you do choose one, look for organic, unsweetened powders made with simple ingredients like pumpkin seeds, pea, hemp, brown rice proteins, right? And Apple 369 shared as well. So also please check to make sure that you understand what testing, if any, that the company has done. Sometimes they do third-party testing, and you can look into that and what exactly is in your protein powder if you decide to use it, okay? So last thing on the protein powder is just remember, no matter who you are, even if you're an athlete or highly active, powders should be supplements, not replacing your real food, guys. We know that we can get great stuff right here, and it gives us so many benefits. So powders can fill gaps, but plants can fill your life. Okay. So here's a few practical tips, and I know we're over. We might go over just a little bit today. I have so much I wanted to share. But practical tips for getting enough protein on a whole food plant-based diet is some simple ways to make sure that you're getting enough protein every day without overthinking it. Center your meals around lentils, beans, legumes. And you can do that by thinking lentil soup, bean chili, tofu stir fry. Add seeds and nuts to oatmeal, smoothies, or salads. You can make salad dressing with them as well. You can swap refined grains for gluten-free whole grains like quinoa, brown rice, buckwheat, millet. Those are the ones that I turn to. Or whole grains like farro barley if you're not gluten-free, like Todd is not. You can use soy foods. So we mentioned there's tofu, tempeh, an edamame for variety and for satisfaction. Seriously, they're so yummy. Eat the rainbow. Every color brings different amino acids and nutrients to the body. Now, hydrate. Protein metabolism requires water. It requires water. So please don't forget when you're eating all these beautiful things, and I know that there is water in some of this naturally celery and different things that we don't have here, but just make sure you're drinking enough. And if you love to meal prep or batch cook, do it for your beans or your lentils, or you can make lentil crust pizzas. That's lentil mini loaves, lentil crackers, which I have made and shared on my past videos that you can find on my YouTube channel. Your future self is going to thank you. So just a few key takeaways, maybe a little conclusion here. Let's just summarize all of this by saying protein is essential and plants have plenty of it. You don't need meat, dairy, or eggs to thrive. You just need variety, consistency, and real plant-based whole food, as well as enough calories. Real whole food plant food nourishes your body and it nourishes your soul, right? Powders and fads and quick fixes, they just can't replace that. But a balanced whole food plant-based lifestyle naturally gives your body everything it needs, including all the protein you'll ever need to feel strong, vibrant, and alive. Remember, your body is smart. It will take what it needs as long as you're giving it enough of the right things. So I am excited about that. And as we wrap up for today, I do want to let you know that I'm going to be doing a bonus live tomorrow at 2 p.m. Arizona time. We don't change our clock, so now we line up with Mountain Standard Time. And you're not going to want to miss this one. I am super excited to welcome back the incredible kitchen witch herself. Any guesses? Kathy Hester, as we talk about her new book, Potions and Powders. And I mean it. Literally, it just came out a couple of days ago. So this is your chance to get the inside scoop before almost anyone else. And before we sign off, I want to throw a little challenge out to you, okay? Last night, I was thinking about something. Here's what I was thinking. Do sprouted garbanzo beans have more or less protein than their whole unsprouted cooked versions? And why was I thinking of that? Well, I have some sprouting right here. There are a few different, but I do have garbanzo beans in here and they're ready to go. And I was thinking about that. What kind of question is that, right? Well, I did a little digging into the research and I found something by Dr. Furman, Dr. Joel Furman. He's a medical doctor in the plant-based world, very well known. And it said the whole cooked garbanzo bean has more protein by weight than sprouted garbanzo beans. that was interesting. But then there's other published information on the internet that says the opposite. And then there's even more information that says it depends, because sprouted garbanzo beans have higher water content than the whole bean, and that might dilute the protein content. What? So I don't really have the answer. And I'd love to see what you think or what you find. If you have information or thoughts, please put them down in the comment section of the video. Even if you're watching this as a replay, I'm curious and I'm excited to see what you say. I thought it was something that it was worth bringing up just to get us thinking. If anyone has any comments to add about that now, please feel free. And I appreciate your time. I hope you found this live helpful. Give this video a thumbs up or subscribe if you haven't already, and check out my website at thejennifferdiamond.com and subscribe to my monthly newsletter. We just had one go out today. Grab a few free recipes and reach out for coaching needs, as I would love to help you in any way that I can. So thank you so much for hanging out with me. Any last questions, Todd? Okay, there is a question. Are you counting denatured protein too? And I am not. So I don't have the answer for that one, but that's one that we can answer at another time. Thank you so much, everyone. Don't forget to eat your greens. And as I always say, give plants a chance. Thank you, everyone. Take care. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.